So for my real estate market predictions in 2025, you're going to hear from our state and national housing experts that have forecasted our 2025 housing market. Additionally, I'll weigh in on our local housing market predictions as well as address some of the common questions such as, will home prices go up or down in 2025? Will rates be lower? Will there be more inventory on the market this year? And is now a good time to buy or sell? And by the end of today's videos, I will also share with you my 10-year prediction on the median sold price for our area. And you may be surprised as to what that looks like. All right, I'm Harold Powell, a local real estate agent serving Ventura and the surrounding communities. And if you want to stay up to date on all things real estate for Ventura and the surrounding areas, well, I suggest hitting the subscribe, like, and bell icon to be notified of future content. So let's start with some of the well-known national experts. The chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, Lawrence Yun, states that the worst of the housing inventory shortage is coming to an end. Mortgage rates are stabilizing and job additions are continuing. Yun also added that directionally, I think there's going to be roughly a 10% boost of existing home sales in 2025 and 2026. Now, as far as California housing goes, Young predicts that California's housing market will likely stabilize, with home prices flattening in most areas, but remaining elevated compared to the national averages. Now, while demand may slow in some high-cost regions, limited inventory will continue to exert upward pressure on prices. Now, as far as the subject of mortgage rates, many analysts were initially predicting that 30-year mortgage rates would fall below 6% in 2025. But recently, they've been revising these forecasts higher. Daniel Hale, chief economist at Realtor.com, said that if we had issued our 2025 forecast a couple months ago, we would probably have had mortgage rates in the high fives in the end of 2025. And in general, housing analysts and mortgage pros still expect rates to go down in 2025, potentially reaching the low 6% range by the end of next year. But for that to happen, inflation does need to remain low. Now, Hale thinks there are going to be some positives in the sense that you'll have more inventory. You'll likely have a more balanced housing market that gives you more an ability to negotiate with sellers as a buyer, but it's still going to have some challenges as far as affordability perspective. The question I often receive sometimes is, who's buying these homes at these prices? Now, a couple interesting facts worth mentioning is that more buyers are skipping the mortgage, meaning that with the sizable housing equity gains from many owners have experienced, all cash buyers have surged to a record high, accounting for 26% of the home sales over the past year. 31% of the repeat buyers paid all cash for their next home purchase. Second is first-time buyers are getting older. The median age of the first-time home buyer was 38, which is an all-time high. They're having to save for a longer period of time or maybe wait for the bank of mom and dad to give them funds to buy a home. 25% of those first-time buyers use a gift or a loan from a relative or friend for their purchase, and 20% took money out of financial assets like stocks, 401k, cryptocurrency, and 7% used inheritance money for their first purchase. Regardless, first-time buyers are coming up with the highest down payments in nearly 30 years, at about 9%, in order to afford the higher home prices. So let's look at 2025 predictions for California. Chief economist for California Association of Realtors, Jordan Levine, reports that although inventory is expected to loosen as rates ease, demand will also increase with lower mortgage rates, and limited housing supply will push home prices higher next year. Now, price growth is expected to be slower, but the housing shortage will keep the market competitive outside of big economic shocks. So prices will still rise. Now, assuming a healthy economy in 2025 that slows but doesn't shrink, home prices should rise modestly in California, with the state's median price climbing 4.6% to reach $909,000 in 2025. The CAR president, Melanie Barker, indicates that an increase in homes for sale along with lower borrowing costs is expected to entice more buyers and sellers to enter the market in 2025. And demand will grow as we start the year with the lowest interest rates in more than 2 years, particularly for the first-time buyers. Meanwhile, would-be home sellers that have held back by the lock-in effect will have more flexibility to pursue a home that better suits their needs as mortgages continue to decline. So California experts agree that housing supply conditions will continue to improve next year with a moderate increase in inventory rather than a surge in active listings in 2025. Now, supply in 2025 will remain below the norm of historical standards. Active listings will increase slightly above 10% as market conditions and lending environments continue to improve. Now, of course, there's the issue of affordability in California. And a recent report by the Realtor Association of California showed that 16% of California households could afford to purchase the $880,250 median price home in the third quarter of 2024. A minimal annual income of $220,800 was needed to make the monthly payments of $5,520, including principal, interest, taxes on a 30-year rate mortgage at 6.63%. So, while affordability has slowed the pace of home sales, the 2025 home sale forecast still expects to see an increase of 10.5% from 2024 sale numbers. And much of that increase is expected from the lower interest rates coming in 2025. Now, there are definitely some differences between what we see happening between the real estate market at a national level compared to our local market. Nationally, the real estate market had a supply of 4.2 months supply of housing of inventory as of October, which was up 3.6 months from 1 year ago. Locally, our current supply of homes sits at 2.2 months supply, which represents a supply of homes that is about 48% less than the national average. So, comparatively speaking, our local inventory is much tighter than what we see nationally. Now, the other big difference locally from this year to last year is our inventory levels have improved. They are 63% higher than they were last year. We actually have 907 homes on the market now versus 550 homes last December. Having more supply in 2025 should slow appreciation curve in 2025. So the fact that we will be starting off the year with significantly more inventory than last year bodes well for buyers and sellers that are looking to move locally to either upsize or downsize. There will be more options to choose from in 2025. Now, locally, we saw our local median sale price increase about 5.4% for 2024, and the median sale home price for California for 2025 is forecast to be 4.6% higher. And I would agree that locally we will likely see some similar increases. The wild card in all of this will be where and when interest rates will land this year. Now, the range has been anywhere from high 5s to 6.3% range. And I would not be surprised to see an influx of buyers and sellers into the marketplace as the rates move towards the low 6% range. We actually saw a similar phenomenon in October, which recorded the highest number of homes sold in a month for the entire year. And there was a 22% increase in the number of solds from September to October this year because, well, we saw rates drop from 7% down to the low 6% in the beginning of September. But by mid-October, rates started headed back up towards 7%. So we may see a very similar phenomenon in 2025 as rates approach the low 6% range. All right, as promised, I will make my 10-year median house price prediction for 2035. Now, let me explain how I came up with the price. The median sale price for the county currently sits at $845,000. And California has seen an average of 6.7 appreciation in the home prices on average for the past 30 years. So I suspect the average 6.7% appreciation will likely remain intact for another 10 years. So using a compound formula over the next 10 years at 6.7%, that would equate to a median home sale price of $1,648,000. Now, that may seem like a stretch, but I'm always amazed at when my parents bought their home for $41,000 and then sold it years later for well over $1 million. So the takeaway from all of this is don't wait to buy your home if you can make the numbers work. Odds are that it'll only cost you more the longer you wait. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If so, give it a thumbs up or leave a comment below. Thanks.